Welcome to the Habitat Podcast, the podcast for wildlife habitat management, hunting strategy, and land stewardship. And now, your host, Jared Van Hees.
Welcome to the Habitat Podcast.
I'm your host, Jared Van Hees, and we are here to become better habitat managers. Welcome back, everybody. We are getting towards the last third of February here. Hope you guys are all doing well. This week's podcast, I have my good friend and longtime supporter of Habitat Podcast, Mr. Lincoln Rohn. Lincoln's been on here before. He is the proud owner of the Packer Max cultipacker brand and products. Today we talk about all things food plots, really. We talk a little bit about some hunting, his family farm in West Michigan where they have crummy soil, where they experience drought, kind of what we've been dealing with the last 3 years. We talk about switchgrass, we talk about food plots, expanding new food plots, what equipment we could use there, what Lincoln's done, failures, wins, victories. We talk about different soil types, we talk about moisture, and his line of cultipacker products we covered briefly within the podcast as well. If you are interested in a discount on one of Lincoln's cultipackers, HPC 25, that's HPC 25 will save you an automatic case of beers worth of money on a brand new cultipacker. This is the very first partner of Habitat Podcast, one of my very first food plot implements, and it still looks and works brand new 7 years later. I believe Al has one that's even older than that, guys. But we talk about the importance of cultipacking, some new innovations in Lincoln's products, and just a really great time to catch up. I went over to the Packer Max headquarters in Rockford, Michigan, Belmont, Michigan, north of Grand Rapids there, and just had lunch with Lincoln and Jeremiah, caught up. It was great to see those guys and really, truly appreciate their friendship and their partnership. So if you've been thinking about a cultipacker, now is the time. Get yours before spring. A lot of people, including myself, like to wait for the last minute and would hate to have anybody miss out on any inventory or items like that. Also, something pretty cool. For the first time in many years, we have a brand new Habitat Podcast hoodie available at habitatpodcast.com. So right now, if you go to the website, we're doing a pre-order. This will only last until about March 1st. So if you're behind on podcasts, I apologize, but we got to get the orders in. We're going to get them made here in Michigan, printed, and then shipped out to each and every one of you. So when you hear this, it'll be the 21st. So we'll run this pre-order for about 10 days. They're a very comfortable hoodie. They're camouflage. They have a American flag Habitat Podcast logo on the front of them. You know what? Go see it for yourself over at habitatpodcast.com. $60 and free shipping. We'll get them out as soon as we run them. It's about a 2 to 3 week lead time to run and order them and print them after we shut down the pre-order. So if you're interested in an awesome looking hoodie with some Habitat Podcast American flag logo on the front, love to have you over to habitatpodcast.com and get you one on order. Again, this is a pre-order. We will be turning the orders off on March 1st, 2025. I want to thank everybody who's left us a great review on iTunes or the comments on Spotify, the ratings. Guys, I am still sending out decals. I sent out a bunch of them the week before last. If you are missing your decal, shoot me email. The best way to get me. Email, which is info@habitatpodcast.com. And I'd be happy to get your address from you and put a decal in the mail as soon as possible. Well, that's about it for us today, guys. I did put a little video on Instagram last night. I went up to the HP40 and documented some of the deer browse on the oak and maple tops. So it's pretty cool to know that I'm feeding deer 5 months after the logging. And, the fresh snow told me that they were in there within the last couple of days once again. So I hope you're enjoying yourself. Be safe out there. And we'll be back here next week with another episode of the Habitat Podcast. Thanks.
Guys, I have a recipe here for venison loin marinade that I've been using for a long time. I start with half a loin, either the left or right side for meal. I'll use about a tablespoon of salt, parsley, oregano, rosemary, crushed red pepper, and just plain black pepper. I'll use fresh parsley, oregano, and rosemary if possible. I'll just rub that on the loin, throw it in a gallon Ziploc bag, and I'll add a dash of liquid smoke, and then a quarter cup of either olive oil or avocado oil, a quarter cup of bourbon. I usually use Gentleman Jim, and then a quarter cup of red wine. Seal it up, flop it around a little bit, throw it in the refrigerator overnight. Take it out when I'm going to cook it. I usually use either a very hot grill or maybe this time a searing hot cast iron frying pan, and I'll sear that loin all the way around, including the two ends. And then I'll let it go for a few minutes. Then I cover it with aluminum foil, remove it from the heat, and let it sit for about 15, and I can usually get a perfect medium finish. Very excellent recipe. Thanks.
Camera in front of him. He shuts right up.
Gotcha. No problemo. Well, I think we're tracking. Check. Yeah, we're tracking.
Yeah?
Oh, yeah. What are you looking at, houses?
Well, I'm
Building a new barn.
at the property up north.
My
Be
friends showed me that same picture this weekend that they're building.
yeah.
The same picture.
I love this, but we'll make some changes and add. I want 5 bedrooms total. We'll add 2 bedrooms and just extend that hallway and then just extend that down.
Yeah, I think they're adding a bay off the back, like you're just saying.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Condominiums are the way to go.
I want to drive through.
Okay.
So they're badass. They're just, especially for, like up the property.
Yeah.
We already have the property.
What do you have up there right now?
It's basically, so we used to have, it's like one of the original barn doors. It was a barn, a cement block tin roof barn that we converted to a cabin. It's huge, fucking huge. It was like 50 by 80.
Wow.
We could shoot our bows upstairs in the loft and stuff. And, but then it got hit by lightning, burned to the ground. So now we just have because we needed something quick. So we got a double wide, those portable schoolhouses?
Yeah.
We bought one from the Spring Lake School District for $1 and had it towed up there for
All
$1,000.
right.
They placed it. We put, cinder block base around it, insulated the base.
Yeah.
And then we just got done remodeling it 2 years ago. It's all knotty pine.
Okay. Yeah.
And you took the drop ceiling out, so it's got a peak ceiling with a beam going through.
Awesome.
It's really nice, but it looks kind of redneck from the outside.
Yeah. But inside it's not.
Yeah, but then you walk in and you're like, holy crap. And it's kind of better that way.
Yeah.
Because people,
Oh, yeah.
might not start putting something like that up there and you're going to get a little attention. But
Sure.
but I don't know. I just think they're sweet.
They are sweet. And you're talking the family property, West Michigan.
Mm-hmm.
We're at the Packer Max headquarters right now.
Yes, we
where
are.
the business gets done.
Yep. This is where this is where half of it happens.
Where's the other half at?
Kent City.
Okay.
That's where our packaging and fulfillment's all done. And
Oh, gagotcha. Well, yeah, this is the corporate office.
Yeah,
this is the main.
I call it my shop.
Yeah.
Yeah. It served us well, and it's relatively inexpensive, month to month, and lease it, so it worked out good for us. And we just decided once we started doing the packaging and fulfillment somewhere else, it just made sense to stay here because it's got great access and 1057 and 131.
Yep.
So
you get a lot of walk-in traffic,
fair amount,
especially during food plot season.
Yeah,
I bet.
Yeah, quite a bit during food plot season. That blind out front
Yeah.
has brought some traffic in. We get a lot of foot traffic from the ATV dealer across the road, Platinum Motorsports, and a lot of guys, hey man, I didn't know you were here, and then they've heard of us and whatnot, but they didn't realize we were here until they drove there. So so we get a fair amount. So we sell, during the season, we have our liquid fertilizers, we have our our deer ponds, we have our seed, of course, and we have spreaders and sprayers and all kinds of stuff.
Are those the earth blind ones?
Yeah,
those are sweet.
Yeah, they're really sweet. they're actually rebranding that now. They're called deer ponds.
So because they made blinds, water holes, everything else. I saw them at the show a couple years ago.
Yep.
And they're called deer ponds?
Deer ponds.
Love it.
Yeah. And they're kind of separating the blind and the pond. Pat Reeves from Driven TV, actually, I got an email from him the other day and kind of introduced it like, hey, this is what we're doing. I love them. We put a mock scrape by every one of them.
Yep.
And we have all summer, we have bachelor groups of bucks coming in and using it. We have bear, coyotes, raccoons, I mean, everything drinks out. Eagles, I've got pictures of eagles on it, drinking out of it.
That's awesome.
Hawks, owls, everything. Crazy.
Is Pat Reeves part of the business?
Yeah, I think he's I think he's maybe part owner of it now.
Okay, cool.
So, but yeah, it was and then
how about Nicole?
Yeah. I met them at the Iowa Classic 2 years ago.
Yeah, I seen guys.
And yeah, they're not running Packer Max yet, but he wants to have a conversation. So
well, they must have had some prior engagement.
Yeah, something. I know they had some sort of a planter or something.
Okay.
So, but now with that email, he said we got to touch base on Packer Max. So we'll see.
Well, you are right off 131 on the way out of Grand Rapids.
Yep.
Can't get any better than that.
Yep. 10 minutes north of GR.
And then your water hose, you said you were getting a lot of hot action on those. We also put those at a lot of stand locations, the mock scrape camera.
Yep. What
do you think is a good must-have for a water hole? Like, why were yours getting hit so well? Because some guys will say they don't get hit at all. Why do I even put this here? I've had great luck, but I have a couple of things that I keep in mind too. Yeah, so I'm curious what yours are.
So one of our main ones is it's at the end of it's the only ridge basically that we have on the whole property. It's pretty flat. We have one little high spot, and that ridge comes down and dumps right into my food plot. And so we have it kind of strategically placed right at the end of that ridge, so they hit that on their way to our food source.
Gotcha.
And yeah, I mean, it's almost, I don't hunt over it. I probably should, but I've never have, and I don't want to. I don't want to
push it up by pressure.
Yeah, so I have matter of fact, I have a spot dug out by my food plot right next to it to put one of the Magnum ones in there now.
Okay.
And the bigger ones, I think those are 120 gallons. The smaller, or the large is 80 gallons. The XL is 80 or 120, and now they have a mega. I think that's 240 or something. So, but yeah, I think location is key. I mean, we have water everywhere on the property. We have a pond. I mean, it's swampy in a lot of areas, and so that's put them where they want to be and where they're going. And then the mock scrape, I think, actually increases that usage too because they're going there to hit that mock scrape.
Yeah,
I've killed so many deer on mock scrapes. I freaking love them, and they work. And I don't care what anybody says. They just work. They flat out work. So
before we get into that, I think the water hole, you nailed something right there. Location. That's what I find. And then I think security cover around it too, right? If you put it out in the middle of a field by a road.
Yeah, they're not going to use it.
I know that's a bold comparison, but you know what I'm saying? If it's back in the cover and security, it's used all the time.
Yep. And to your point, I mean, there's small, probably 5-year-old white pine that are kind of surrounding it, so they can still they're secluded in there, but they can still see through the white pine. So I think that's probably got a lot to do with it too.
Okay.
And it's right past where they're going anyway. And the only ridge on the property, Jeremiah always gives me crap because it ends up right at my food plot, and they travel it a lot.
How often does Jeremiah get to hunt that spot?
Like 3 times in his whole life.
Yeah.
I was in Saskatchewan, I believe, at one of the bucks that he killed out of my spot.
That was just a couple years ago, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was probably
5 years ago.
That was probably at least 5 years.
Yeah, it was 5 years ago.
Well, shoot, I've been doing this thing. Next month will be 7, and you've been with me since the beginning. So we've known each other at least that long.
Yep. And it's funny how that all started too. Is you bought a tree stand for me at my previous career in the parking lot.
Yeah.
We met there, and that's where it all began.
Almost like a drug deal, like tree stands.
It was just like just like a parking lot drug deal on this tree stand. So
lone wolf climber.
Yep.
Hand climber.
Yep.
I love that thing.
Yep.
I don't use it as much anymore with the saddle stuff. But if I'm gonna grab a stand, it's that one.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. If you're going mobile, I mean, I used it a lot, and I just didn't do much mobile hunting just because, number one, I'm getting older. Number two, we have the property, we have stands already preset, even our leases, we have stands already hung, and I'm not mobile hunting.
Yeah.
If I do, I'll just throw a set of sticks up and we'll stand up and, and jump in. So, but I'm not carrying them 5 miles, and even the saddles, everybody that I've talked to that uses them loves them, but I haven't made that plunge yet. I really have no reason to, you know?
Well, no, once your spots are kind of dialed in, and you just hunt them with the correct pressure like you do, you don't really need to mobile hunt as much.
Right.
If you're dissecting a new property, that's different, right? You don't know where you want to hang a stand. Then you want to move 30 yards. It's like, crap, I got to pull this whole thing down.
Right.
So there's, pros and cons. It's a tool and tool belt, right?
Yep, for sure. Yep.
And then with food plots at your Michigan piece, how many acres of those are you into these days?
So we have a 160 acre property, and we have 11 food plots, probably totaling about, with our bigger plot, probably 10 acres.
Wow.
Roughly 10 acres.
Yep.
So I try to use that 10% number.
If you can get it.
If you can get it. But I'm also in the camp that I would rather have a 3/4 acre food plot that is absolutely dialed than a 3 acre food plot that's just kind of half-ass.
Sure. Great point.
I would rather really.
What do you mean by dialed?
Just like pH is absolutely money. Your organic matter's money. Your just planted just meticulously. Light tilling. Broadcast pack with a Packer Max. It's I would rather versus not being able to put the resources into 3 acres that you need to, concentrate on that acre or half acre, even 3/4 acre, get it dialed in, get that pH exactly 6.8 or close to that as you can get, and your nutrient levels, your organic matter, and just really focus on details matter.
Yeah.
And, so I would rather see somebody dial that than versus go bigger, I don't have enough food. Well, okay. So you make a 3 acre plot and it's crappy. So deer don't use it anyway, so I don't know. It's kind of been my motto.
I would agree. Cause especially if you're in a ag area or area with more property owners that actually plant food plots. Yeah. That's what, if you're the only food plot within a mile, okay, you might not have to dial it as much, but if there's everybody around you competing, you want to be the guy.
Yep, for sure.
And deer know which plants are filled with the nutrients, right?
Yep. Yeah, for sure. They absolutely do. And we've even seen it on a couple of our newer food plots. Like we have a forestry mulcher come in and expand a few of our plots. Well, we, absolutely poured the lime to the new section, I'll call it.
With a buggy? Or maybe not quite that way. Like, how much slime are you talking?
Okay, so we expanded. The expansion section on one plot particularly was about probably half of an acre. So we put about 1,000 pounds of lime on that as soon as he was done doing it.
Gotcha.
Just let that, kind of worked it in a little bit. Started letting that work. And then that fall, I think we planted just like oats or something that just to get some forage in there for the summer. Maybe some red clover or whatever. And in that fall, we worked it all in, and then we actually hit it with some more lime, and then all the nutrients per fertilizer per the soil test, and I don't know if it's due to micronutrients but the spot that we've been planting for 20 years that we talk about being dialed in was pretty dialed in, but we noticed that the deer were heavily feeding in the new section compared to the older section, and I was like, I wonder. If there's micronutrients, maybe a little bit better, obviously the pHs ended up being pretty close to the same. But yeah, I really, and that was that case in a couple of different ones that we did. We noticed a lot more browse pressure on the new section. So
has to be, it doesn't have to be, but more virginish soil, They say on a new plot, brassicas will do great the first year or two, then it starts to, dial back if you're not doing any sort of soil health work. But
if you're not putting anything back into it,
right?
Because that'll just get up and walk away.
Yeah.
Literally, they don't.
Yeah.
Deer rare. I mean, they might shit in your food plot from time to time, but it's already been all your forage just gets up and walks away. So, and along with that is all the nutrients that was in the ground.
Yep.
So
stuff that we want to go back in.
Yep.
We all have too many deer, so we can't do that here.
We do.
You know,
we have way too many deer. For the most part, anyway. And a lot of guys will say they don't, but they do.
Yeah.
I mean, they're just we can't if we want to grow, any type of a brassica plot or soybeans, anything like that, we have to fence it with a dual perimeter electric fence.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I mean, they'll get 6 inches tall and they'll just wipe it out. We have I should show you a picture. Maybe I have, but we had one of our main fields is 3 acres, and it was absolutely. I mean, it was unbelievable, and I got to get out of this. Where's my favorites? There it is. And they were, I don't know. We had probably 30,000 pounds of forage per acre.
Wow.
So that's when it was done.
Oh, I remember that plot from all the pictures over the years. Yeah, that's huge.
And that was like a month later. I mean, they
Are
just
you serious?
Yeah, just dirt.
What was the first date? Sorry.
I don't know what the dates were. That was So that's probably just when I copied it. But this was in October.
Yep.
And then that was like in late December.
Oh my gosh.
So it was a couple months.
Absolutely hammered.
Yeah. I mean, there's bulbs in there, but
yeah.
But the forage was just completely gone.
Wow.
So they'll to my point, we protected that, let the brassicas come up, get well established before we turn the deer loose on them. And then they just massacred it.
Massacred is a great term. Oh God.
So, but yeah, that's how many we shot. I think we shot 13 does that year.
Okay.
Off the 160, just because.
Did you notice the difference the next year?
Yeah.
Did you?
Yeah, for sure. And then I think we even hit. The following 2 years we shot 8.
Okay.
And then now we average like right around 4 or 5 usually.
Okay. Yeah. Some guys will say they shoot 13 and couldn't tell a difference. Maybe areas with a little more population.
Well, one thing too that we notice is when we start shooting does, it's almost inevitable that we have new bucks show up.
Okay. Why is that, you think?
I think we make room for them.
Okay.
I think I really do. I'm we shoot does and almost.
Would that be complying to the doe factory
maybe to a certain
mindset?
degree. Maybe to a certain degree. I mean, those are going to get pick of the litter.
Yeah.
As far as the ground and you start illuminating mouths and the bucks move in. It's something that we've noticed over the years. That it happens. We shoot does and we always have new bucks show up. It's pretty crazy.
Give me an example. What kind of buck showed up that you recall thinking in your brain? Anything, any memory?
So this past year.
Okay.
We shot 4 does, and within a week, I had a 2-year-old 8-point show up, and he stayed. And then when they do that, almost inevitably too, they stay.
Okay.
Like they move in, they go, oh man, this is sweet. We got cover, food, water, everything we need right here. We hunt smart, very, very low pressure. As long as, the best as we can anyway.
Yeah.
And, we're absolute scent control freaks. We hunt mostly out of blinds now. I know a lot of people don't like that, but it just flat out works. Yeah. You keep your scent in, if your entry and exit is solid, you don't pressure deer. So, and we don't, they also learn where they're getting shot at and where they're not. The state ground around us or by us, I think that, once that starts getting pressured, we start picking up deer too. So, and we have 11 of the nicest food plots money can buy in the national forest, and so that probably puts a little more pressure on our stuff than what somebody in ag country would have. So
yeah, because you're drawing deer in from all over the county, for lack of a better term. And your habitat's going to suffer from that.
Yep.
Yeah, and I can see a bunch of old does kicking away a 2-year-old buck, for sure, or 1.5-year-old buck. So that's a good example.
Yeah, and we do target. We absolutely try to shoot older does, almost to a fault because
the Wayne sitting stuff, right? you know.
Unless she's got, and some people might think this is crazy, but if she's got button buck twins, she's dead. I'll shoot her. I won't even think about it because those bucks are going to stay then.
Otherwise, they're going to disperse.
Yeah, because
she'll kick them out,
and away they go. And so I don't care how old she is, and probably if she has twin button bucks, she's probably under 3 years old, so or 3 or under,
right?
According to Wayne Sitton's study for 20 some years,
correct.
80% probability that a deer or a doe that's 3 or under is going to have at least one button buck, maybe two. So, and it's the same percentage of, a doe that's 4 and 5 is probably going to have doe fawns.
It was a very high percentage.
Very high percentage.
Over a long period of testing.
Yep.
In a private area.
Yep.
Yeah, that blew my mind.
Yeah. In a free range area, but it was still 20,000 acres. So, I mean, it was a huge sample size, and it was very consistent for 20 years. So they have the data to back it up. So I have no reason to dispute it.
No, I'm just thinking of all the big nanny slickheads I know of right now that made it through last year. They're just like, dang it.
Well,
I should have killed a couple more of those.
It becomes work. I mean, it's a lot of work shooting does. It just is, man. It's a pain in the butt.
Yep.
We got my buddy Adam. I think you know Adam Kemmer.
Oh yeah, I know Adam. Yeah.
Doe killing machine over in the thumb area. I mean, I started shooting does, and I was like, man, I'm becoming Adam Kemmer. He goes, man, those are rookie numbers.
He shot a bunch of bucks this year too.
Yeah, he did. He's done really well the last few years.
Yeah,
a lot of the does are Michigan harvest, but a lot of his bucks been shot down in Ohio and Missouri. Okay. So, but yeah, Adam is he takes that doe hunting very seriously.
That's cool. Somebody has to.
Yep.
Yeah, it was like December, and I was blessed enough to 2 nice bucks down, and I haven't shot a doe yet. Easton, let's go.
Yep.
Let's go.
Easton shot one, didn't he?
No, I was with him.
Oh, yeah? Okay.
Yeah. He'll shoot one this year.
Yeah.
We just didn't get through the training enough to have him up there. Yep. He could have done it, but I'll teach him the right way.
Yeah. Don't want to rush it either.
No, all 3 of my kids will hopefully be out there this year. I'm incentivizing them too, so shoot a deer.
Perfect.
You mentioned you did some mulching back on your food plot expansion.
Mm-hmm.
How much is that to do? Did you rent a machine? And then, what time of year would you recommend doing that?
I think any time is a good time, but I would say ideally, I think we did ours I needed it to dry out a little bit, so I think it was like June, because you want to be able to get the lime activating and working. At least I do. Liquid lime is always a good alternative.
Yeah.
We've had good luck with that, but I still like to work in either pelletized or ag lime, preferably ag lime, but pelletized is a good alternative. And so I like to do it, as soon as it's dry enough to get your equipment onto the ground, basically. I like June. I forget what it was. This was a few years ago, but I think the going rate is like $225 an hour, roughly.
That's good enough.
Yeah, and I have not had it priced out, but I'm pretty sure it's right in that ballpark. And you'd be absolutely shocked at what they can do in 4 hours, 5 hours. A lot of them have minimums, I know, like a 6-hour minimum.
You're just, there, your day's spent already.
Yeah,
might as well.
We had them. We had 3 or 4. We had 4 food plots expanded. We had him do some work on some of our trails. Kind of widen them out a little bit. Just clean some stuff up.
Okay.
It was money well spent, in my opinion.
Yeah.
We did take some time on some of our expansions. We cut a lot of the trees, got them off the food plot before he came in, just because I didn't want that much bark or mulch on it. Like Jeremiah's plot, for instance, was all jack pine, like 5-year-old jack pine, and it was thick as hair on a dog. And we spent a lot of time pulling a lot of that mulch off.
After it was mulch.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. So kind of learned a lesson there, get at least some of it off. Some mulch is completely fine and preferred because you want it to break down. But there was so much the seed wouldn't have had a chance trying to get through it. So yeah, we did got one of those landscape rakes on the tractor.
Okay. How'd that work?
Good. Okay. Just pulled some of it off, and then we actually loaded it into one of our machines and filled in some holes on the road.
Yeah.
Did a little road maintenance, and that worked good.
Yeah.
I would highly recommend a mulcher I like mulching better than just like a straight bobcat situation because I want to leave the topsoil there.
Right.
You know, I don't want to strip that away. We learned that lesson in one of them.
What happened there? Because
carved it right out of a jack pine thing with a bobcat. But in order to you had to take a good chunk of the topsoil. Well, it's just like beach sand now up in Newaygo. There's virtually no. So we've been working on building that topsoil back.
Yeah.
Just planting and like a soil builder and grind it in and just keep doing that.
Hey guys, Al here, Vitalize Seed. I hope you all are doing well. So we got a lot of new things happening at Vitalize this year, and I wanted to highlight some of those. First off, we got a brand new website. We just added a chat feature to that website so you can get your answers to your questions in real time or as fast as possible. Those actually come directly to us, so we can answer those questions, as well as has some auto answer features for those frequently asked questions. So trying to further increase the customer service that we offer. Number 2 is we are offering bundles now. So we got a lot of questions about people trying to piecemeal things together. So we took the guesswork out of it for you. You want a fertility bundle, add that to your cart, and it gives you all of our natural fertility products in one place. We also are adding bulk pricing. So been asked about this in the past, and we've done some kind of one-off things. But for those people who are buying 5, 10, 15 acres, depending on the product, we're going to be offering some bulk pricing options for that. So right now we got that up on Nitro Boost. We also are going to have that up for the Clover, Chicory, and Oats offering, and might expand that to other offerings as well. Other things are new products. So we got our annual Clover. That's a fantastic product for frost seeding and also for this early spring, especially for those who still want to plant Nitro Boost. They want to get that annual Clover established. You could go in and drill your Nitro Boost right through, broadcast through it, mow it off, spray it off, etc. We got our Premium Clover Plus. I'm using that on all my logging trails. That's a fantastic product. I'm also using that often with our Clover, Chicory, and Oats mix. So I might use Clover, Chicory, Oats in the first year on my logging trails like I did last fall. Let those oats come in, they'll die off, and then I can frost seed my Premium Clover and Chicory over top of those trails now. So those are areas where I want a perennial crop growing. So I'm using that mix. And then we added our brassica mix as well. We, of course, have our seed feed and seed armor. Those are selling fantastic, and various other products, guys. So please check us out at vitalizeseed.com. We sure do appreciate you, and we're looking forward to a fantastic 2025.
Okay, so that was with a skid steer and a mulcher?
That was we just did the skid, or that particular smaller plot. We just did the skid steer.
Ah, okay.
And so by the time you start uprooting all this stuff, you're also
stumping
stripping.
it.
Yeah,
and with that comes the topsoil.
Yep.
Fully aware of that. Yep.
So that we kind of paid the price a little bit because we didn't have any topsoil, and so we it's just like I said, it's like beach sand.
Yep.
So, but the mulching, you still I use our. It's fine now, but the first 2 years we had an old piece of crap rototiller that we used on that, and it had a clutch in it because you're hitting stumps. You get down as far as you can with that mulcher, but you can still only go so far, and you're gonna be hitting some stuff. So, or a disc would work really good too. Until you get that stuff broke up.
Gotcha.
So now it's like I said. Now we can just run our woods through there, our woods tiller, and don't have any problem.
Okay, so you did both of those where you cut trees and destumped and then you mulch, which you go with a mulcher on a new food plot in the future? Okay.
Yep, 100%.
I have a lot of stumps at the 40.
Yeah, I bet you do.
A lot.
Yeah.
And in the 70, the guy plucked them all out with an excavator. So I'm debating how I'm going to carve in a nice big food plot on the 40 because it's going to be through straight woods.
Yeah.
I'm talking.
Yeah, if you've got mature trees, I'd cut them, get your, drag them out of there somehow.
Yep.
And then go to just get the lion's share of them. Yep. And anything, I think we took pretty much anything over 4 inches.
Okay.
We cut and dragged out.
Yeah.
And so, and then, there was still a lot of mulch left so a lot of, material would break down. And that's another thing after we did that, I kind of forgot about that, especially on Jeremiah's, we put a ton of nitrogen on it too. It's like, I don't know, what is it? 4600. Cause that helps.
Yep.
Yeah. That helps break that down.
Oh, does it really?
Yeah.
Oh, I knew that.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
And how's it looking now?
freaking gorgeous. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's money well spent. So, and I think we added. I don't even know how much we added for sure, but I mean we added quite a bit of area for food. So
yeah.
and again, it's much needed, as you can see. So we need to plant as much as we can with our gear.
Think about it. It's to you're around the state forest and not a lot of huge ag. I don't think by you.
Virtually none. I think the closest cornfield's like 5 miles away.
Exactly. So same with up by Jim and I.
Yep.
Like I put in I think 3 acres to 5 acres. One I didn't get planted, and all that was mowed down to the ground.
Yeah.
There's no deer up there compared to down here. But when you're doing this stuff, lowest hole in the bucket, you figure it out. Here they all come.
Yep. Yeah.
There's deer shit everywhere in that whole food plot.
Yeah. Yeah. And even this winter, I mean, they're digging through the snow to get to we have people ask me what's my favorite food plot, and my favorite, hands down, is clover. I love clover. There's not a better early season food stores or hunting plot. I mean, unless you have an extreme drought, they're eating it. There's nutrition available basically the full year. They're, the first 3/4, probably 2/3 of hunting season, they're smashing it.
Yeah.
And now on the transition to winter, that main clover plot behind the cabin looks like they've rototilled it because they're digging down. Yes, it's dormant, but it's like a deer eating alfalfa hay, basically.
Yeah.
So they're still digging down to get to the clover, and there's still nutrient available. It's not obviously not maybe as much as when it's completely growing, but it's just like I said, it's like a horse eating hay.
It's one of the best.
I
I couldn't agree with you more. I think, especially with the droughts we've been having, we talked about it earlier. Yep. It's like 3 years in a row of a drought at some point. And it's always good to have a little bit of an insurance policy with that around.
Yeah, there's a lot of different schools of thought with that, from no-till stuff but I mean, I don't think it would have mattered what we did last year. We ended up replanting 2 or 3 times. Our screen, our last planting of screen was, I think, in July.
Oh, so yeah, you were trying to get one in.
Yeah, we just kept freaking losing it. I mean, it would germinate, and then it'd go 30, 40 days with no rain, and it just, done.
Yep.
So even our couple of our main hunting plots, the higher ground, the stuff that was in the lower ground,
caught the moisture.
Yeah, I mean they were awesome, but my plot in particular was terrible. I mean, I'm like, man, this is embarrassing. I own a food plot company, and stuff looks like crap.
Tell me about it. That's what Albert and I say. So we started this company in 3 years. We've had droughts. 3 years.
Yep.
It's like, man, up against the swimming upstream here.
Yep.
Without water.
Sure. Yep. Literally, I last year I got desperate and I rented 1,000-gallon. Some people may have seen it on Facebook, but I rented a 1,000-gallon trailer with a trash pump on it. And man, you think you are just pouring it to it, man. I made 6 trips from our pond out back. Our pond was low, but it follows the water table. Okay. So even though I was pumping 6,000 gallons of water out of it, it still stayed pretty consistent. So I wasn't too worried about it. Getting that too low. But I made 6 trips back to one plot in particular, put 6,000 gallons of water on it. It's probably 3/4 of an acre roughly.
Okay.
And I dug down and I had moisture down about 1/4 of an inch. So jeez. Yeah. I mean, I think you need 30,000 gallons of water per acre to equal an inch of rain. I believe that's the number.
Okay.
Which is a lot of
whatever it is,
water.
it's an astounding amount compared to what we think you're doing,
Yeah. And so I obviously didn't hurt it, but I don't know that it helped.
Made you feel better.
I did. Well, and the other thing that it did,
into the ground.
Right. The other thing that it did do, because I even said it, as soon as I rent this thing, I'm going to spend all this time and money freaking doing this, and then it rained. It rained like, I think I brought this pump back on Sunday, and I think it rained on Tuesday.
Hey, so that's what you have to do to make it rain?
That's what somebody said on Facebook. Said, I told you it was going to rain. I'm like, yeah, but if I wouldn't have done this, it wouldn't have.
Exactly.
So thank you. You're welcome.
Exactly. My buddy Paul Reinders, he's up in Montague or up that way. He's got an old fire truck from the 60s or 70s, and they drive in the parades. He goes to waters his fruit trees and food plots with it back in the woods. And again, to your point, I don't know how much water's compared to a natural rain, but it's kind of fun.
Yeah. Yeah. I certainly didn't hurt it, and and it might have helped it, get a little bit, and then, kind of get it through to the rain, maybe. I don't know. But again, I felt better, and then it rained. So it's like washing your truck. If you want it to rain, wash your truck. And then I just rented a pump and made it rain. So,
well, that's why it's so clutch to be out there and be ready to hit it right before rain.
Mm-hmm.
Even though you did that with the screen and stuff, and we did it with our plots, it's like, still, there's been a drought afterwards. But I remember last year I was out on the 40 at 10 at night, covered in dirt, spreading seed in the dark with the tractor headlights on. And then it rained the next day, and I was able to hold that plot through the season just because of the one timing.
Yep.
I got home and my wife's like, "You just rolled around in the mud." Or like, "What have you been doing?" Covered. Just because it was dusty and dry.
Yep.
And it got some rain.
Yep. Yeah.
And that helped.
We also took advantage of some cereal rye. Well, we top seeded a lot of our plots just to try to thicken them up a little bit.
What's the going rate per acre on that cereal rye?
50 to 200 pounds.
All right, good to know.
Right in that range somewhere.
Okay, I like that.
Oh.
Yeah, that helps. I mean,
definitely help for sure.
Like a newer, like mine, with all the leaves on the ground still and stumps everywhere, and that stuff came up nice.
Yep. Cereal rye is a really good lifesaver. I mean, it's either that or we wouldn't have had much of anything. I mean, in certain spots anyway. Like I said, our low. Of course, you could grow on 2 of our plots, Jeremiah's and my son Justin's. You could probably grow celery in that. I mean, it's black muck. Wow. Yeah, it's really, really good dirt. Really good dirt, but not the.
You're talking Michigan?
I'm talking Michigan. Yep. It's all and it's so I think a lot of it has to do. We have a beaver pond on the back side of our property on the back 40. It's just over our fence line, but all the drainage from that beaver pond comes on. I mean, I think it's from years and years of runoff from the beaver pond.
That makes sense.
Yeah, it's just really made that stuff mucky, and it's just a little bit lower ground, and it just holds moisture better. And there's a little bit of, it's like almost a sandy clay loam almost.
Yep.
I mean, if you've got moisture and you use the Packer Max on it, it's a good thing we have those cleaner bars on it because it would be a big ball of mud if we didn't.
Yep.
So, so that, it's just that type of that texture of soil. But and those plots looked great. Those looked like Drury plots.
Do those get too wet sometimes with it being in a maybe an old runoff area?
Sometimes they do.
Not recently, obviously.
Not recently, but we've had it where, we've about buried the tractor up the axles a couple different times on them, just, trying to get them worked up. And, we did one plot in particular, ended up doing a no-till. It was just kind of swamp grass. We ended up seeding into that, packing it all down, and then spraying it with glyphosate, and it worked great. And we didn't bury the tractor trying to work it up. But so
yeah, that Packer's coming pretty handy.
Mm-hmm. Yep. They're a great tool. We've had our customers absolutely love them. Our reviews are great. They're just handy. They're easy to manage. They're easy to maneuver when they're empty. They're heavy enough to really work well. And we've got pretty much a model for everybody. We've got let's run through the models. Let's talk about we had gone away from our standard model because everybody was upgrading to the HD. So I
did that as well.
Yeah, so we actually did away with that model for a couple of years. Well, with the downturn in the economy over the last few years, I wanted to offer something that was still a little more economical that people could still get into. So we reintroduced the standard unit. So we have that, which is still a great unit. You've had one for several years before you upgraded yours. Yep. That's a tubular frame. Really it virtually works the same. If you're backing up or something, you got to kind of watch it because if you do jackknife it, you'll probably bend the frame if you hit it pretty good.
I never did.
So, but then, so we have that is our kind of our economy version. We have our heavy duty, the 4-foot heavy duty, the PMX4 HD. That's kind of the staple. That's our most popular model.
Is it?
And we have that in a pull behind and a 3-point hitch model. We've introduced 2 years. This will be our second full year. The 6-foot model, which has been quickly catching the 4-foot model.
Okay.
A lot of guys especially guys with side-by-sides, are buying the 6-footer, and they love them. and we did change that profile a little bit, made it a little bit less aggressive because of the desire to do a little bit less minimal tilling. So if you do minimal tilling, you don't need to have quite as an aggressive groove,
like a pitch on the groove.
Yeah. And so and we still leave really nice moisture channels in the soil.
Yeah.
Plus, we're getting better contact all the way to the bottom of that with the wider 6-footer. So, we've been kind of looking at doing something like that with the 4-foot model also. So that's kind of in the works, but it still works awesome, and it's been tried and true for 10 years. So, well, actually longer than that, since 2013. I bought the company 7 years ago. This will be the 7th year.
Yeah.
So that's when we started sponsoring the Habitat podcast.
Yeah. I think Al even had one of your units before you bought the company.
Yep.
I think.
So,
mine's been, my drum, I drive that on the gravel roads all around. It's great. I did upgrade to the crimper heavy duty combo.
Yep.
That thing's sitting behind my barn right now, waiting for spring.
Yep. We're just waiting on it. It'll be here before we know it. I mean, we're just talking about some frost seeding with a customer. It's going to be in the 40s next week. So
it's going to feel like summertime.
It is. Yeah. It's, I don't know, what is it? 10 degrees right now?
0 or something.
Freaking yesterday it was so dang windy. Holy cow, that's terrible. Frost seeding.
Frost seeding is probably go time for that.
It's pretty much any time. I prefer, and I don't know why, I don't have any science to back it up at all, 0. But I prefer doing my frost seeding after the snow is gone.
Okay.
That's just the way I've done it. And I, broadcast on the bare soil. You're still getting that freeze thaw action, with the soil. So it's still drawing the seeds into the soil versus I just feel like if I'm broadcasting on snow, and maybe that's just because of where we are with our water runoff, I feel like I'm losing a lot of that seed.
You could.
Doing it that way.
For sure.
So I wait till snow's gone, the puddles are gone, and then I'll frost seed. And I still get, a really good take. And you can also take it another step further and packer max it when you're done.
With the frost seeding.
Yep. Just pack it in to ensure that you're going to have seed to soil contact. So, but again, I have nothing backing that up. That's just my theory is with snow runoff, you probably do lose some seed or pool it up into a certain.
I think there's merit to that, especially with like a more expensive seed like a switchgrass.
Yeah, I will not.
Like I'm gonna wait till the snow's all gone before I do that up north.
Yeah, for sure. And then I would even pack that.
Yeah.
Switch in. Yeah. Just to ensure that if you do get a pretty good rain, that you're not gonna, it's not gonna be floating away.
Shoot, wind could take that away.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's a good point.
I always tell guys they're gonna frost seed switch to packing in.
Yeah.
So
what's nice about that downburst I use, I'll throw a plug in here for Doug there too. Mm-hmm. Between that and the packer, you're laying down exactly where you want it, putting it right in where you want it.
Perfect. Yep.
Nothing moves.
Yep.
So that's expensive. It's expensive seed.
Yeah. Yeah. Ours,
Clover's not cheap either.
Yeah. We've got a 50-50 switch.
I might need some of that.
Yeah, it's RC Big Rock and RC Tecumseh, 2 of the best switchgrasses out there, and we blended them 50-50. So it's been a solid performer for us. 2 years in, and we're thick, and we're I don't know. This year is probably 5 feet tall.
Awesome.
2nd year. So
what was your preparation like on that?
So I pulled a Jake Ellinger trick, and I did my weed control a couple different times. And then I actually broadcasted in with my screen, our magician screen. Yep. And it really, really worked well. And then like that following spring, I did brush hog the residue
left. Yeah.
Yep. Just to kind of chop that up and make room so that, the switch could come right up through it. And, it worked really good, really good. So, and I put that in a couple, in front of a couple of our blinds and, some trails, and it really worked good.
Did you try to frost seed any supplemental on top of that, or not at all?
I did not.
Okay.
Nope, I did not. And I didn't on purpose, kind of, because I wanted to see how it worked, and I did. We had one section where I had miscanthus, so we kind of did like a I guess Chris Brackett calls it like feathering, I guess. So we planted miscanthus on the outside, and then switchgrass. So it's kind of a little bit of a transition.
Okay.
I don't know. seemed to work pretty darn good.
Yeah.
So, and then like our big field, I did break that up with some of that 50-50 blend. You know, just taking that big field. I mean, I still say deer are like bass; they hold tight to structure.
I would agree with that.
If you got a big ass 3-4 acre field, break that thing up. Even if one of them I would just take the tiller and do like a 4 foot wide or 6 foot wide strip by 10 feet long, and just plant switch in it. So you have pockets of switchgrass throughout that field. You still have to kind of go around it if you're tilling it, but that has increased daylight movement tenfold in that field.
It's a good tip.
They won't come in it otherwise in daylight. So that really has worked well, and they hold tight to that cover, or that's those pockets. So
yeah, I was on a land plan visit last week. I said the same thing. Mm-hmm. I'm like, there's a reason all the deer are right here. Mm-hmm. There's cover right here. Yep. They use it across this big open field. Do you use anything else when you try to keep covering your plots? Do you do any shrubs? Do you leave any autumn olive hanging out?
So
whatever.
Not really.
The grass will do it.
Yeah, the grasses have done it for us. I do have, and again, this is just trying to block one of our bigger fields from the cabin. I planted a bunch of pine trees, and then until those are big enough to, they're getting pretty good size now. You can hardly see that field now. Everybody liked watching the deer out there, but it doesn't during hunting season. They're not using that field in daylight if it, the cabin's sitting right there. So we got that blocked, and then again the miscanthus and the switch has really worked well. And then while those were starting to set, we used our screening, magician screen. Yeah. And it works really well. Okay. So
what's the bag of that switch cost? Half and half. Somebody somebody didn't get it in time for frost seeding.
Yeah, a half acre.
Grab it.
A half acre bag is $90, $89. And again, it's been a really solid blend for us. So if you want some, I might have some left yet, but I had a guy come in and buy all that I had. Really? And then we're waiting for our annual, our big order in the spring to come in yet. So
yeah, we had Roger on a couple weeks ago from RC who developed that, and it was a great episode. Learned a ton. But that after talking with him, I think I would want to do that mix versus just the RC Big Rock.
Well, I think I just think it's just twofold. Certain ground is one's going to do better than the other, but I still kind of like that staggered, and I'm if you're going to use it for bedding, I don't think it's necessary to have a super thick stand, because I don't think they're going to use it if it's ultra thick. So we've actually cut back on on the seeding rate if you're going to use it for bedding. Yep. So I don't have actually any switch for bedding on our property, because we have it's our sanctuary basically. It's that willow brush.
How are you gonna beat that?
40 acres of it, and we can't hunt it. You can't access it, but I mean
that's your main swamp, your sanctuary, where they're all at. Yeah.
The only time we go in there is if we're tracking the deer. Okay. And otherwise we do not go in there. Gotcha. Period. And it's roughly 40 of our 160 acres.
That's huge.
Yeah, it's a big area, and the deer pile in there when the shooting starts.
Oh, I bet. So your dad hasn't found a way to sit up top and snipe over that whole thing yet?
No, he does.
Off limits?
Yeah, we keep him surrounded by food, and I think we have. Well, he's on the edge of that 4 acre plot, and then we've got a strip going to the right, and then out in front of him we got a nice kind of it's like a staging area plot where they come into that plot before they go into the big plot.
Perfect.
And we keep him locked in his blind. Like I want to sit in my ladder stand. I'm like, nope, you're sitting in your blind, because
really
he's pouring coffee or whatever, and I sit out back and listen to deer snort at him all the time, and so we lock him in his blind. And
that's awesome.
Last couple of years, this past year we had to drive him out there. So I tried. Because of the drought, it didn't work, but on a section I tried planting our screen, and I wanted it to come up, and then I was going to back our brush hog in where he could just pull, the side-by-side into that.
Perfect.
And then walk 30 yards to his blind. But it just, after the third planting, it got about 6 feet tall, and it just wasn't. So it was it was a losing battle, but so I'm going to try that again this year so he can just drive, and I'm going to get him a golf cart. He's 81. Still slinging arrows like it's his job. He kills.
Yeah, he's a killer.
Yeah, he bumps into a big one every now and then. But I just make them stay in his blind. Like it's worked, you know. So
our deer are a little bit high octane around here, so it makes sense.
Oh yeah,
hide everything you can hide.
Yep, 100%.
Well, maybe with all the snow we've gotten so far, we might be off with this drought kick. I don't know. I'm not going to knock on some wood, but
well,
I don't know. It's acting like winter.
Yeah, knock on wood, because last year, if you remember,
early,
super wet. Everybody got their stuff in. Oh man, look at this! It's looking good. I was like, 60 days no rain.
Yeah.
Like, and we can't go a week with no rain up there with the sandy soil we have. I mean, we're still working on it, but I mean, it's still sandy loam and it dries out.
That's how the 70 is, man. You know? It's a beach.
Yep. So if we don't get 1 to 2 rains every week or two, it's week to 10 days. It gets pretty dry.
Yeah.
So, but it's a battle. I just dream for the day that I own a piece of property that's
fully irrigated or what?
Well, I could. I've thought about putting a stab well. I looked at some pricing, but that's getting a little bit.
I mean, is it?
I mean, I don't know. But I'd need like a 5-inch well or 4-inch well for sure. Big. And so. Sorry,
you were saying dreaming about.
But just like when I would go out to Iowa and hunt out there, and he's it's just no big deal. He plants his stuff and packs it in, and he's got freaking turnips the size of a volleyball, like in radish.
The soil is just so good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Friggin' radish that it looks like a Louisville Slugger. Like I don't know. We don't get that up there.
Well, the dirt's not the same.
Nope.
Is that where your dream farm's gonna be?
Iowa?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You gonna end up with one out there someday?
Someday. Yeah.
Even if you can only hunt it every 6-7 years?
Well, I'm okay.
You can muzzle load, right?
Yeah. And so that's what I've been able to do.
That's true.
2 years. I drew 2 years in a row now. And
wow.
I drew
really good.
shotgun, or I always call it shotgun because it's always been shotgun, but it's gun season now. I drew first gun last year. The year before, I drew muzzleloader, and now this year I'm going to put in for second gun. Just kind of mixing it up, and hopefully I can draw another tag.
You drew. I knew you went out there 2 years in a row. I guess maybe I thought it was over 3 years, but
it was
wow, gun and muzzleloader.
Yep. And I'm okay with that. Like I mean, I love bow.
We're from Michigan. We're okay with a lot of stuff.
Right. Like I would love to, and talking with one of the guys from juries that I go with, he's like, you can come out during the rut if you want, and it's helter skelter. There's bucks running everywhere. But if you want to get on a deer, a late season food source. I mean, the last day I was there this year, and I didn't shoot a buck this year, but I passed up a 160-inch 4-year-old.
Jeez.
Passed up a 150-inch 5-year-old 8-point that was gonna die because I thought it had a freaking drop time. Turns out it didn't. It was a piece of corn hanging down.
Ooh, that been.
Yeah. So so I ended up not shooting that. But the last day I saw 40 bucks on a standing bean field.
4-0.
40 bucks, and probably 20 of them were 140 or bigger. Up to, and I passed that 160 again. I saw him that last day, and then another mature big huge mainframe 8-point had his G2 busted off, so didn't shoot him either. So
wow,
I ate my tag, but it was
but you're investing in next year or whatever, kind of right.
Yeah, and it's a 5-year-old only, and it was a very recognizable deer. It had a flyer sticker off its G2, and it stepped out, and I'm like, oh, damn. And he's like, you see what's on his left horn? I'm like, oh, shit. Man. So got to watch him, but got to watch a 160-inch buck for 45 minutes. That was pretty cool.
Did you ever stop shaking?
No.
Yeah.
Nope. And then, last day, daylight or, night falls and hunts over, and I'm like, I'm okay with that. And if the deer would have come out 5 minutes early, 5 minutes after day or dark, we got a picture of it, about a 24-inch wide 12-point hammer that came into the field after shooting light.
They still know, don't they?
Yep.
They still know when it's safe.
Yep. So just an absolute, but it's Iowa and it's still cool. And if I get drawn to go back this year, I'll have a hopefully a 180 plus that I'll be able to hunt. So
Yeah, there's a lot of guys I've heard say, if you want consistency, go towards that late season or towards muzzleloader.
Yep.
My good friend's Brad out there, same thing.
Yep.
I have like 5 points, I think. So this year, I don't want to burn 5 on a muzzleloader tag.
I did.
Well, maybe in that case.
That one right there, that heavy.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome.
I mean, that thing is just, I mean, it's not a.
I got a score to settle with a bow out there, though.
Yeah.
I lost a really big one.
Did you?
And probably 60s.
Yeah. Oof. Ouch.
Yeah, remember your big Ohio buck with the
it's right on the
big
other
main
side.
beams
Yep.
and big bases? It was kind of like that. You had a flyer off of G2.
Okay.
Liver shot him, and we couldn't go on the neighbors to track him. They wouldn't let us. He's dead.
Yep.
But the very first night, this is how green. The very first night, I passed like a 12 point, like 25 yards. First night of like a 10 or 11 day trip. I'm like, this is Iowa. Like, there's,
right.
The landowner was like, yeah, it's probably a bad pass. It's like a deer's probably bigger than you think it is. And sure enough, it was monster. He's probably 60s as well.
Yep.
Maybe high 50s.
Yep.
So I got a little score to settle out there. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't
know. But.
And again, we're being from Michigan. It's hard because like even Missouri this year. Like I went to Missouri muzzleloader this. It's the first time I hunted Missouri, and that state. My gosh, I'm getting a lease there this year.
Are you really?
Yeah, I'm on the lease that I hunted.
Is it northern or southern?
It's northeast.
Oh, great.
Yeah,
best spot you could be. Right?
Oh yeah, and it's. Yeah, so I hunted it this year. I paid, I kind of did it, just paid him to hunt, and I'm actually co-leasing it with him this year.
Good.
So,
cool.
And I probably won't even be able to get out there till muzzleloader with everything I got going. So, unless I maybe skip it early season. Early season, I like to be in Michigan with my dad. It's just,
I like to be with my kids.
Yeah.
I hear you.
And my kids.
Yeah.
And both my boys hunt, and, that's special time. And then once November hits, then I'm off to the races.
It's kind of done.
I'm out.
Yeah.
Peace out, Michigan.
It's not as, there's still some deer around, but it's not as
right.
It's pretty wrecked.
And that's I've learned a lot about hunting our property in Michigan. I've been very blessed to be able to have that my whole life. I don't know what life looks like without our property. I really don't. I've had it since we were 10. It's being passed along to me, and but I've changed my expectations.
Sure.
Like you can't shoot 140, 150 inch bucks if they're not there. You can't. I don't care. And so we're this past season I passed up 5 3-year-old bucks, and every single one of them's dead. Every one of them. So
I get why you would pass a 3-year-old because they won't be 4 if you shoot them at 3.
Right. And I've kind of stepped it up from years past. Years past, I would have hammered the first 3-year-old that walked in, and I let them go to let them grow. And, they're all dead. But that's a choice I made. And if I'd have killed them, they'd still be dead.
They'd definitely be dead.
You
killed them, right? 100% chance they'd be dead.
And my dad killed one of them, which was
cool.
And Jeremiah got on one of them that was, that he was able to hunt. And I just said, like, get in there and shoot that deer. Like,
so, and the other couple who got those too.
So, they're but it's a place where, we were just looking at pictures of barn doors, before we started this. And that's my, I want to keep that property. I want to build a barndominium on it. I want it to be a place where my family can go gather. 100%. Kind of like your place up north.
That's all we do.
It's
the main priority.
Yeah. You like shoot some good deer.
Sure.
But I enjoy going up there. We all work hard. We're stressed. Owning a business is not a child's play. It all seems like fun and games, but it's not.
We're all tired.
Right.
We're all tired.
And there's stresses that go along with that. But I can go up there. It's an hour from my shop. Drive up there. Yeah, I can go up there, and I could go there right now if I wanted to. And jump on a tractor, brush hog. There's always something to do. Therapy. Digging the dirt. I started digging our pond before we, had somebody come in. And the third time I almost lost the backhoe, we hired somebody to come in and do it. But,
hey, try it once yourself, right, twice or 3 times.
It was fun. So, it's I've changed my attitude about it. Let's do the best we can. Let's do the habitat. Let's do the food plots. Let's work on the property, get it as best we can, shoot the best deer that we're able to. If we start seeing good 3-year-olds, then we're going to be happy with that. But a place where my grandkids can go, my family, my boys, my daughter, and have a room for each family that they can have their stuff, there.
Yep.
Right now you kind of go up there and you got to fight for a room if you You know, whoever's
It'll
there
get
first.
used more if you set it up the way you're talking about
for sure.
setting it up, and people love it.
Yeah. You know, our family, I have 12 grandkids, and, you know, we have a Christmas. We have to rent someplace to have a Christmas, you know. We have this great big barn door up there with, you know, to have big, great room, you know, it'll just be awesome.
That's awesome.
So I've kind of changed my attitude about hunting in Michigan. It's more about that than it is shooting big deer. I can go anywhere and shoot big deer, you know, or try.
Well, I mean, you change your way. It's the reason we do all this habitat stuff.
Yeah.
Say the end goal, say the buck is not 150, but he's 125. You're still working towards that perfect place.
Yeah.
It makes you feel at home, makes you be proud of your property.
Yeah.
And
it's therapeutic.
Yeah, just clear cutting it and leaving it.
I guarantee you, if you asked any of these guys that follow this podcast or follow that, you know, the habitat pages, why do you do it? I guarantee it's because they love it.
Yeah.
It's therapy. It's therapy for these guys. It's therapy for you. It's therapy for me. You know, there's always something to do. You go up there and my wife's like, all you do is work when you go up there. Yeah, kinda. It's fun. I like it.
Yeah.
You know, digging a hole for the water holes, putting in the mock scrapes, putting the food plots in, you know, working on, you know, hinge cutting here and there, you know, whatever. It's fun, something to occupy and be a part of the outdoors. And God gave us this gift of the great outdoors for a reason. Let's enjoy it, you know.
Well said, brother.
And, you know, if we stumble into a big one every now and again, great, you know. So, heck yeah.
Perfect, Link. That was great, man. Any final words? Where can people find all your products at if they haven't heard me say it for 7 years straight? Where are they gonna find them?
PackerMax2X's.com. So PackerMax2X's.com. We have all of our full lineup of cultipackers there. We've got some seed on there. We've got you know, just if you want to come into the shop here in Rockford, Michigan, you know, we've got you know, now deer ponds. We've got liquid fertilizers. We've got spreaders, sprayers. We got a pretty nice selection here, you know, right here locally. Some of that stuff we might end up putting on our website too, but
cool.
For right now, main forte is the Packer Max. So
awesome, brother. Well, I appreciate you.
You too, man.
Good seeing you today.
I'll say it again. I always say it when we finish our podcast, but thank you for what you guys are doing too to educate people on all this stuff, because you know, you guys have grown exponentially through the last 7 years, and you know, it's been cool to be part of that. So
man, thank you.
And friends to the end, man.
Yeah, man.
All right.
Thanks, brother.
Okay. Talk to you.
Thank you for tuning in to the Habitat Podcast. We really do appreciate you guys coming back every week to get this awesome Habitat content, and we would appreciate it if you went to iTunes, Spotify, wherever you listen to this podcast, and leave us a 5-star review. That helps us continue to grow and trend in the right direction, attract new listeners, and help us provide better content in the future. Guys, we have a website full of resources. We have a blog on the website. We have YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, all linked up at habitatpodcast.com. Our land plan services, merchandise, decals, hats, t-shirts, and I give away a free 5-inch decal to anyone who leaves us a review on Apple iTunes. Really appreciate it. I want to thank our partners, Downburst Cedars, Vitalize Seed Company, Morse Nursery, Packer Max Cultipackers, Stealth Outdoors, First Light Latitude Outdoors, United Country Midwest Lifestyle Properties, and Exodus Outdoor Gear. Thanks again, guys. We'll be back next week with another great episode of the Habitat Podcast. Thanks for tuning in.